Welcome back to NASCAR Report today, and if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now because we are trying to build this channel into a real community and every single subscriber gets us closer. Today we're diving into one of the most fascinating turnarounds in recent NASCAR history, and it centers on Shane Van Gisbergen. From 2023 through 2025, Van Gisbergen made 12 road course starts and won 6 of them, posting an average finish of 7.6. But everywhere else across 38 starts, that average finish ballooned to 25.0. Analyst Neil Payne pointed out that no driver who debuted after 1972 had ever shown a gap that wide between road course performance and everything else, and it wasn't close. That split was supposed to be permanent. That's just how it works, right? Then 2026 rolled around, and within 12 oval races, the widest performance gap in more than 50 years of stock car racing started closing fast. To really appreciate why that criticism was fair to begin with, you have to understand where Van Gisbergen came from. He arrived in the United States from Australia's Supercars Championship, a series that's almost entirely road courses and street circuits. He's a 3-time Supercars champion and a 3-time Bathurst winner. What he didn't have was oval experience. His Trackhouse teammate Ross Chastain, a 5-time oval winner, put it simply, Van Gisbergen just hadn't done much of it. Some dirt track racing here and there, but no real experience on big, steep-banked, high-speed superspeedways. His rookie Cup Series season in 2025 confirmed exactly that. He won 5 races and every single one was on a road course. He finished 12th in points. His best oval finish all year was 10th at Kansas Speedway back in September. When a reporter asked how it felt to finally crack the top 10 on an oval, he pushed back on the word finally, saying it's a process. That oval racing is genuinely difficult, and that it's taken him time to get better. And the skeptics weren't just making things up. They had a very specific cautionary tale in mind: Marcos Ambrose. Ambrose also came over from Supercars, also dominated road courses, and also spent years struggling to translate that speed onto ovals. Ambrose himself explained it well on the Apex Hunters United podcast, saying that eventually you get better, but the guys who've been doing this since they were 8 or 9 years old are just miles ahead. Van Gisbergen has been just as honest about how different the two disciplines really are. When asked what makes oval racing so hard, he said everything about it adds up. It looks simple, just 2 corners, but there are countless tiny details in how the car is set up just to turn one direction. He's talked about the sensation of the banking as something you don't experience anywhere else in motorsports, and about the brutal practical challenge of getting only 10 or 15 minutes and 1 set of tires to learn an entire track before race day. His description of high-speed oval technique says it all, sending it at nearly 200 miles an hour, deliberately missing the apex, heading toward the wall and trusting that the air pocket will hold you off it, then hearing the exhaust echo back as it does. Now here's the evidence, and it comes as a 4-step ladder, with each result answering the doubt raised by the one before it. Step 1 came at Atlanta's drafting-style track, where Van Gisbergen finished 6th, a career-best oval result at the time that barely got noticed. The obvious pushback was that superspeedway racing is chaotic, so one 6th-place finish doesn't prove real speed. Step 2 answered that. At the Coca-Cola 600, the longest race on the calendar, he officially finished 11th, which looks unremarkable on paper. But the underlying numbers told a different story. His average running position through the race was 7.81, and NASCAR's own data ranked his car 7th in raw speed and 6th in defense out of 39 cars. A slow pit stop, not a lack of pace, is what cost him the finish. Afterward, he admitted he was frustrated in the moment because the result didn't reflect how well they'd actually run all day. Step 3 erased the 11th is still 11th argument entirely. On May 31st at Nashville Superspeedway, he finished 5th, his first top 5 oval finish in 64 career Cup starts, and his 50th oval start overall, on a concrete surface he'd openly admitted wasn't his strong suit. After qualifying got rained out, he started 10th on the metric, but crew chief Stephen Doran called a 2-tire pit stop during a competition caution that vaulted him toward the front. He led 12 laps and traded the top spot with 2-time champion Kyle Larson, calling it genuinely fun to battle for the lead. He was even self-critical afterward, saying he got a little loose late and cost himself a couple of spots, but he also pointed to something real. He'd finally learned to be comfortable moving around in turns 1 and 2, something he'd never been able to do before. and the timing mattered. He said the team had struggled for a couple of months, and things had clearly turned a corner. The last objection left standing was sample size. Just one strong night in a race where 10 cars didn't finish. Step 4 wiped that out completely. North Wilkesboro Speedway, July 19, 2026. And this is really the centerpiece of the whole story. Qualifying got rained out again, so he started 8th in a 37-car field. A 2-tire strategy call from Doran moved him up to 4th early, and from there he picked off 3 Joe Gibbs racing drivers in a row, Christopher Bell, Ty Gibbs, and finally Denny Hamlin, to take the race lead on lap 52. That's when his radio call happened. "I'm leading, what do I do now?" And his team's reply summed up the whole underdog arc. "I don't know, go straight." He nearly stole the first stage win from Ty Gibbs by half a car length, picked up stage points in both stages, and led 4 separate times for 49 laps total, second in the race only to eventual winner Joey Logano. To put that in perspective, his previous career best on any oval was just 12 laps led. He spent 355 laps inside the top 5 and 442 laps inside the top 10, more time in the top 10 than any other driver in the field. He finished 5th, his first ever short track top 5 and his first short track finish inside the top 10 of any kind. And the technical explanation he gave afterward is the most telling part of this whole story. He said the track reminded him of a road course, that he used right foot braking for about half the race, and that because it's such a balance-dependent track, his natural driving style actually translated well there. He didn't abandon his instincts. He found a track where they finally worked for him. He'd also run the Truck Series race at the same track the day before and finished 3rd, and crew chief Stephen Doran said that experience directly helped, since it let him learn the racing line ahead of the Cup race. Up front, Van Gisbergen described the racing among the leaders as calmer and more respectful, joking that it's a much friendlier crowd once you're up there on TV. Ross Chastain summed up the growth from inside the same shop, saying Van Gisbergen has learned who he is as a racer and is finding the limit of the tire, with Doran giving him the tools to do it. And Denny Hamlin, who finished right behind him that night, said it's incredibly impressive that in about a year and a half, Van Gisbergen has figured out how to run ovals as well as he has. Now look at the season-long numbers. Through his first 12 oval races of 2026, his average finish improved to 19.25, compared to 27.5 over the same 12-race stretch in 2025, an improvement of more than 8 positions on essentially the same set of tracks, with Nashville swapped in for Homestead. Of the 11 tracks common to both seasons, he finished better at 9 of them. Zoom out further and splitting his first 50 career oval starts in half. The most recent 25 show nearly a 6-position improvement over the first 25, plus more laps led and fewer DNFs. Historically speaking, only 3 drivers who debuted after 1972 have gone from genuinely excellent road course numbers and genuinely poor everywhere else numbers to turning that around across their next 20 non-road starts: Jerry Nadeau, Robbie Gordon, and now Shane Van Gisbergen. Of course, the story isn't complete without the caveat, and it belongs right in the middle of it, not buried at the end. Intermediate tracks remain his clear weak spot, with a 21.6 average finish there. He's comfortably above average at drafting tracks and short tracks, but still below average on the mile-and-a-half ovals that make up a big chunk of the schedule, and he says so himself. Some weeks he can run comfortably inside the top 15, and other weeks it's a battle just to crack the top 30. He's been open that he still feels like the weakest link on the team, even while crediting his teammates for pushing him, and admits he's still got a long way to climb, even if he can feel it coming. Doran has pointed to qualifying as the last real piece of the puzzle. If they can start up front, he believes they have the speed to stay there all day. And here's where this stops being just a feel-good story and becomes a championship story. Van Gisbergen went into North Wilkesboro 31 points above the playoff cut line and left it sitting 14th in points, 54 points clear with 5 regular season races to go. Neil Payne's forecast model now puts his playoff odds above 90%. And this time without a single win propping him up like his road course victories did in 2025. That ripple effect matters beyond just his own results too, because his surge combined with Joey Logano's win at North Wilkesboro means there's now only one projected playoff spot still up for grabs. Among drivers below that 90% mark, leaving Austin Cindric, Eric Jones, Ryan Preece, and Brad Keselowski fighting over one fewer available seed than it looked like a month ago. And it's worth pointing out this improvement is driver-specific, not a case of better equipment across the board. At Trackhouse Racing, Van Gisbergen is now the organization's highest-ranked driver, well ahead of Ross Chastain in the low 20s and rookie Connor Zilisch down in 34th. So here's the honest way to frame all of this. Shane Van Gisbergen hasn't become an oval ace, he's become an average oval racer, and for a driver who's already won 8 of his first 15 road and street course starts, simply being average everywhere else is exactly what a championship-caliber season looks like. The intermediates are still the unsolved piece of the puzzle, and unfortunately for him, the playoff schedule is loaded with them. So here's a question for you. Which oval do you think gives Shane Van Gisbergen his first non-road course win? Drop your prediction in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think. And honestly, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching and for being part of this channel. We are so close to hitting 1,000 subscribers, and every single one of you hitting that subscribe button means more than you know. It genuinely helps us keep making videos like this one. So if you enjoyed this breakdown, please subscribe, share it with another NASCAR fan, and I'll see you in the next one.